All right. Good evening, everybody. Thanks again for listening. You are listening to the Beauty in Us Radio right here on Awesome Guide Radio. I am your host, Nelson E. Brown. It's May 11th, 2021, and I'm very, very excited this evening. I have a very packed show this evening. This is my very first post Mother's Day special, and I have decided to do this because I wanted to give you guys an opportunity to meet my mom, Lisa Brown. So this is the lady I've been talking about for the past several months. This is the lady that has been supporting me all the way in everything that I've invested my time and energy into. And this is the one who supports me all the way. And I wanted to give the other ladies of AGR an opportunity to talk about what it's like to be a Black mother in today's world. So I wanted everybody to have that opportunity to do that. And I know that this past weekend was Mother's Day weekend, and I know that it's a celebratory occasion for many people. So I also want to give my condolences to people who may have lost their moms, and some people, some men and women who may have lost their moms, some little boys and girls who may have lost their moms. This has been a very difficult weekend for them. So I also want to give my support for people who may have lost their moms. And I know that this may have been a difficult time for them, but I just wanted to give everybody an opportunity to tune in to tonight's broadcast to talk about what they think it means to be a Black mom. And I also want Black moms to tune into tonight's show to talk about their experience. So without further ado, I would like to go around the table and give everybody a chance to introduce themselves and talk a little bit about themselves and what they do, so that new listeners can understand everyone and get to know them. So who would like to go first?
Hello, everybody. I am Larissa O. I am one half of SNL Better Than Ever. I'm an author, mental health coach, and advocate. I'm also a radio host on the Good Life Gospel Show on Awesome God Radio. I'm a mom, and that's about it.
Okay, I'll go next. Since I'm the other half of SNL, I'm Sherry. I am an author, a podcaster. We have a podcast show, which we can probably discuss a little bit later. I am also a director of an outpatient mental health clinic, and I'm a mom of 3 boys.
All right. And last but not least, I am Kat Wilson. Wow. And I was looking at this question, like, what do you do? Oh my gosh. And we all do so many things, and it's just so wonderful. I don't know. I'm just a Christ crusader and a people empowerment person. That's the best I could do. I'm a social worker, MSW. I don't know. I'm a radio show host as well. I have my radio show host for the Good Life Gospel Show and my show, Chat with Kat and Friends. I'm a mom. I have a blended family. I have my bonus son and my son Marquise and my daughter Hope, my bonus son Anthony. And we rock as moms. What?
Okay, I guess I'm next. My name is Lisa Brown. I'm a proud mother of 1. I work for the federal government. Next month will be 32 years. When am I looking forward to? Retirement. Yeah.
You deserve it.
What else can I say? I don't know what else to say. I mean, that's about it. I love the Lord, and every day I'm working to get better. Every day I wake up is another opportunity for me to do better and get closer to Him. So that's where I'm at. Working on improving myself and just trying to be the best person I can be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, and that is amazing. And you all are very amazing. You all have accomplished so much, and you all are so inspiring. And I wanted to have you all, like I said before, I wanted to have you guys on here because I wanted you all to have an opportunity to talk about what it means to be a Black mom in today's world. So to start it off, one of the questions I sent you guys in addition to telling us a little bit about yourself, I want to know from your point of view, what is it like to be a Black mom in today's world? I know, it's a mixture of families here. We have moms with sons, we have moms with daughters, and I know that, you all can relate to each other in different levels.
Right.
So I just wanted, anybody can go first. You guys, can anybody talk about what it means to be a Black mom in today's world and what their experience has been like throughout the journey?
Well, okay, go ahead, Sharon. Go ahead, Sharon.
I would say it has been, of course, it's enjoyable. It's great. It's all of those wonderful things. But I think generally when people ask that question, they're thinking about the whole pandemic in 2020 and how it's changed, because being a Black mom 3 years ago, as opposed to last year and this year, has certainly dramatically changed. For me, it has been difficult. I think, I'm a people person. I love all things human services. I'm a huge advocate of mental and behavioral health, but I think all of that intensified after seeing so much of the racial injustice and looking at it from a lens of now I have to have these conversations with my young sons. And not only do I have to have these conversations, which they should just, and I say this to people all the time, they should just be focusing on playing in academics. But I have to have these conversations that I did not expect to have until they were much older, until I planned to give them car keys. But I have a son who will be 9 tomorrow, and I have an 8-year-old, and I have a teenager who will be 13 this year. And we've had conversations with all of them about not just the global pandemic and what that means for other people, and to lose loved ones. And we've gone to family funerals where you can't console, you can't touch, which was weird. And then to also have that conversation of, we're not talking about civil rights anymore, we're talking about now, and those things that you read in the book are very similar to what is going on now. And I've had them go out in March and realize that they have a voice, because that was important for me, not to leave them powerless, but to help them to feel empowered in the midst of constantly being bombarded with the fact that they may not be liked, they may not be trusted, and they may never feel good enough because of this country that we live in. And to try to affirm them in many other ways and help them to feel powerful, even when everything that they see sometimes from YouTube channels, they don't see little people that look like them. I've had my son say, well, I don't want to be a YouTuber and show my face because nobody looks like me. Because all he sees are representations of people that don't look like him, or seeing news clips of people constantly being hurt because they do look like him or look like his brother. So it's been very challenging, I would say, for me.
Yeah. I'll hop in. I echo what you're saying, Sherry. And probably pretty much, we're not speaking on behalf of everybody, not by a long shot, but I would fair to say that many of us share the same, the same semblance, which is true, that the most difficult part has been this year's turmoil with the open-handedness of racial injustice toward our sons and daughters, our families. And it didn't even matter that we don't know each other, we're not connected. So the most difficult thing for me was, just as you said, Sherry, having those conversations. And to me, for me, a step further, having those conversations and seeing the innocence kind of fade away a little bit. Like, you see, there's a slump. There's like this decrease that happened, right? There was a show that really emulated that in a great way. I can't think of it right now, but you can see, there's this look, there's this glaze that's just gone, this sparkle that's just, and to have to do that, it's heartbreaking. It's very heartbreaking. And I don't know what to do. I don't, I don't know what to do that is going to save your life right now. Like, if something was to happen, I can't save you. Like, these things are happening. So being faced with that, it's been really hard in that aspect. Of course, it's been, it's great. Being a mom is great. But that, I would have to say, even beyond the pandemic seclusion and stuff like that. But and then all catapulted together all at one time. It's been very difficult. It's been very, very difficult. So you do what you do. You do what you can do. And I think it's given me, I'll speak for myself, it's given me a chance to rise to the occasion and to feel and know and exercise my own toughness and, my own resilience in that regard. But for me, that has been the toughest thing, as far as being a Black mom. And me, I'm home with Hope is the only one home. She's the only one home with us, and our kids are older, but it's still the same. It's still, It doesn't matter, because my heart is racing when my husband goes out to the store, and it takes a little bit longer. It's tough. It's pretty tough. I digress.
For me, it's been a little challenging, but also very fruitful. I'll say, as Kat and Sherry already mentioned, it does compel me to be a little bit more present in my daughter's life. It compels me to be a little bit more wiser in the way that I teach her and the things that she's not learning in school. She is 8, and I have a little girl, so she doesn't watch the news like that. So you know what I'm saying? She's not glued to television. So her innocence is still very much so there. Of course, her friends are talking. She hears the adults talking the more. We're talking about what we're going to do and what we can't do and what we can do. And I just continue to instill in her that she's a kingdom kid, and we operate out of what God says. We are in the world, but we are not of the world. The thing that has been challenging the most as a Black mom to my daughter is the fact that I have to talk to her constantly about death. Death and sickness. Her dad a few years ago had a stroke. We actually watched him in distress. So that was traumatic for her, going through that situation, and also seeing how strong she is in it. And I think that is an example of what it is that I portray in front of her, but also allowing her to breathe, allowing her to have her emotions, allowing her to have an open forum of, share your feelings, you know what I'm saying? And also continuing to put that sense of security in our life and that freedom and that fun, right? Because we can't have all of one without the other. If there's no balance, we'll all be going bananas, okay? And that's just real life. So it has definitely been challenging in that fact, but a great privilege in itself. Just thinking back on the fact that, okay, I have been assigned to be this young woman's mother. I've been assigned for this day and time, right? Okay, so if it's going to happen, if the killing and everything is going to happen in front of my face, because it's been going on all along, right? Mm-hmm. But now we have access to the television. Okay, Larissa, sometimes you're going to have to cut the TV off. Okay, sometimes you're going to have to let her get off of YouTube. Okay, sometimes, and you have to fill those voids and with other things that are good, right? So that one, she doesn't lose her mind and you don't lose your mind as a parent. Okay. And so it's been challenging, and it has been great in a sense, because we find things that we love to do. And I teach her how much more precious life is, because you don't know what's going to happen. And so that's been our season of, me being a Black mom, raising my daughter in this time.
Okay, well, I guess I have to, since Nelson will be 22 on Friday, I guess I have to go all the way back to when I was carrying him. And I really didn't know, I picked out a name for a girl, picked out a name for a boy. And once I found out it was a boy, it was kind of scary because I thought about all the challenges that he would have to face. Even, just think about him, in the womb, like, my goodness, he's a Black boy, and I felt like he's already coming out marked. So that's how I felt. And I still continue to go through that, watching him grow and, just allowing him a chance to be a kid and not put my insecurities on him, allowing him to try different things. I think probably the only thing he's never tried is probably playing basketball, right? I mean, I just wanted him to be a kid. So even now, like she mentioned about the car keys, I was so excited, you know, when he passed the driver's test. I was ready to kiss that lady. Yes, he passed, you know what I mean? But then I thought about the fact that he would be out there driving. And then I did have to have the conversation, you know. Now I'm saying, put your hands on the steering wheel. Don't make any sudden moves, just, going through all of this. And every time he goes out, you still have that, like you said, the fear, of something happening, Can I mention what happened a few years back?
Yeah, sure.
Because a few years back, I don't know if people know, it was an incident at Randall. Well, I won't say where it was, but it was an incident, and Nelson was, I could say, held captive. We'll say it that way. And when he finally got away and he called me, that was like all that coming back again, just being so vulnerable because my son was out there. Someone had taken his car. It's been rough because you still go through those moments because I'm always worried. I'm always concerned. When he leaves out, I'm kind of anxious. But when he comes back in, it's like a sigh of relief.
Right.
But as a mom, you can't keep him in your pocket forever.
Right.
He's really deep in his faith. And I always tell him, I got some explaining to do, but about some things. But Nelson is really deep in his faith. And, he makes me want to just be a better person. And I'm so blessed that I've been chosen to be his mom because I look at him in amazement. And I've always known how great he was, but it was just getting him to the point where he knew his greatness because even sending him to school, just the things you have to deal with in school. And, parents have to be involved. You have to be there. You have to know what's going on. Even if your kid is a straight A student, you still need to be involved and know what's going on. Teachers conferences, parents conferences, everything. You just need to know what's going on with your child. So, it's been a wonderful experience. It's been a great experience. I've learned a lot from him. I continue to learn from him. He's a great inspiration. I'm so proud. Sometimes I watch him and I'm still like in amazement, like, man, I carried him for 36 weeks. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So, not to take up too much time, but, it's been an awesome, and it's continuing to be just such an awesome, just ride, just to watch him grow and develop into the young man that I know, he was intended to be. It's just nice to see him finally realize his greatness. And it's, you know what I mean? It's like, wow.
You get it now. You get it?
Yeah, right. Because sometimes outside influences, people can really get into your head. And again, you let your kids go and they have their experiences, and people, teachers, principals, coaches, a lot of people are in their ear, and sometimes their voice is greater than yours. So that's why you got to stick in there and let them know their greatness, even if you don't hit a home run, even if you strike out, you know what I mean? You still good. Like, that doesn't define you, know? So yeah, I'm, because I can talk all day, but it's not my show.
About your baby.
It's not my show. Yeah, it's his show. Yeah.
Look, if I can jump in real quick, I can piggyback off of what you were saying concerning when you found out you were pregnant with Nelson. I remember when I was pregnant with Marquise, I had this when it like hit me. Like I was having a boy, I was gone. I left. I was crying. It was uncontrollable. So there's like this thing because it's like you already know, and it's like what I was like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Why did we do this? It was horrible. Just that episode, that thing of going through that intense moment, and you can't take it back.
Right.
Or anything like that. So just to relate to you on, on that note, and practically everything that you said, but on that specifically, I remember we were living in Germany. I wasn't around family. I wasn't around, anybody. It was just me and me and Anthony. I'm sorry, not anybody, but I wasn't, my mom wasn't there. My sister wasn't there. It was just us against the world. That's what it felt like. But man, I remember that feeling of overwhelmingness, as far as, having that great responsibility. And it was wow. It was wow.
Yes, and like I said, you all have great experiences, and I know that the journey never ends. Being a parent and being a mom, in particular. So my next question that I had for you guys is, what does Mother's Day mean to you? Because I was able to see the difference between Mother's Day and Father's Day, and how people look at it differently. People treat Mother's Day and Father's Day differently, and I just wanted to know, what does Mother's Day mean to you, and what did it mean to you growing up? Because I know that, having a mom and being a mom, that feeling, it could be different. It's still, having children and just, looking at the journey in terms of, from the beginning to where you are now, and in terms of how you've grown throughout the process. How do you all like to celebrate that with your moms or, with your kids? So what does it really mean to you?
I can go first. Well, Mia actually is my first viable baby. So I had 2 miscarriages before, meaning I was pregnant before, counted all 10 toes, 10 fingers, heartbeats, baby died in my arms. The second go around, same thing. So for me to be her mother, it is an amazing opportunity. I don't take it lightly. Because I know the pain of not being able to keep your child alive. I know that pain of not being able to have, something that you love so dearly. This Mother's Day was a little bit different as well. Not only am I a mother, I still have a mother. So normally I would celebrate my mother and my 2 aunts who don't have children. So I look at them as my moms as well. I call them the Golden Girls. So it's 3 of them. So it's my mom and my 2 aunts. So every year being able to celebrate them and just love on them. My grandmother passed a few years ago, and that just rocked my whole family. 13 kids, everybody, uncles passed away. Some of my uncles passed away due to cancer. And then when my grandmother passed away, it was just like, everybody was like, ugh, what are we going to do? For what? What is life worth living for? You know what I'm saying? And so I take a moment to celebrate. Everybody knows me. I love to celebrate. I will celebrate anything. And just to be able to have this Mother's Day, not only to celebrate the fact that I'm a mother and I do want gifts, I want flowers, I want money, I want it all, and being able to receive that type of love, and to also give it to the women in my life, not just my biological family members who are mothers, but also my friends, to be able to share in that day. I understand that there's a difference between Mother's Day and as Father's Day too, but I think that as mothers and as women in general, we just like to over celebrate. So we can't help the fathers if they don't, if they don't make it a big deal. Because I'm making it a big deal. It's a huge deal. Okay. You carried a whole human. Okay. And I always celebrate the aunties and the godmothers, because it really does take a village to raise a child. And so I don't neglect them in that way, but just being able to still be able to celebrate my mom and to pay homage to my grandmother, who is now no longer here. And then rely on good memories that, replace the tears of sadness and grief to joy, that we get to continue to carry the legacy, because we all are going to go. And I'm not being able to stay stuck in that funky place, but still being able to celebrate life. And so Mother's Day is a really, really big deal for me, because I have my daughter and I'm still able to celebrate the women in my life who are mothers to me.
Awesome. I'll jump in and go next. Mother's Day is a great big deal to me. I love Mother's Day. Let me see. Growing up, Y'all would not believe it, but my mother and I did not have the greatest of relationships. And many people probably could say that, I don't know. But
Mhm.
we were not nearly as close as we are today and now. And then I was far away. So, that stuff, it didn't resonate with me, I think, until I had my own kids. It wasn't, just high, it just wasn't high on the list of celebrating
Mhm.
or whatever. But when I became a mom, it became a thing. It became a thing to me, and it was worth celebrating. Um, uh always there was always love, there was always, joy and all of those things. But as far as the holiday of it all, growing up, I don't remember doing it big or anything like that. Often, I'll just say often. Mom, don't get me, because I don't remember. I don't remember. Don't hold it to him. Look, don't hold me to it. But I don't remember celebrating it, as this great big holiday or anything, like I do now. I love it. And you know what? I can say that this year I love it even more than I used to. And I think that's only because of who that I've come into the knowing of who I am and
Mhm.
loving who I am all the more. That has helped me know and understand, my worth as a person, as a mom, as a wife, and all of those things. Because I'm a queen every day. I feel lauded every day.
Yes.
That's
But
right.
when Mother's Day, yes, it's like you said, Riss, I want the gifts. I want everything. Give it to me.
Everything.
Give it to me. I love it. So, and so it's just wonderful. And I love, lifting up and honoring my grandmother, who's no longer with us. And everybody, everybody else who's no longer here. And just as Rissa said, we're cousins, so our aunts, and because we definitely we were together, we were together, tight knit sometimes, and then not so tight other times. But it was definitely a an affair for family raising, all of us cousins and all of that stuff. So, I love Mother's Day now even more than I did before, and I did think that just speaks to the knowing and coming into myself. My mom-in-law, she's great. I love her to death, or to life rather, not to death, but to life
Mhm.
rather. And Father's Day, I love Father's Day, and just like Rissa said, I want it to be celebrated just as much, but I can only do so much. I can only do so much, guys. Y'all gotta come. You gotta come with something. We can only do so much. I
They just want food.
Listen, you carried a whole human. It's
hard
no
being a man,
competition.
so that should be celebrated. And it should be Mom Month really, but we'll talk about that later. We'll
Yeah,
talk
that's a
about
whole nother show.
Mom month.
I definitely don't feel like the celebration should be the same because you carried a whole human. You did something that the man could never do. He was an assistant. No shade to the father, but he was an assistant. But like
right.
you really, you as a mom, everything that you do for those 9.5, 10. I had a baby that took too long to come out. Months. I
Mhm.
mean, you really everything about what you do involves the baby. You don't sleep. Your whole body, your mouth, everything changes. People don't realize you have
You
dental
can't
issues,
eat
you
the
have bone
same.
issues, you can't eat the same, smell the same. That is a lot of commitment. I
Not even
mean,
wear the
from
same size shoes, Sherry.
ever
Oh,
again,
you
ever
can't even wear
again.
tennis shoes. Shoes that
Right.
tie up out the window. You can't even wear tie up
Yep.
shoes.
Walk around barefoot.
Exactly. And for that, I feel like it deserves a whole different level of
You done made a
celebration. Not
point.
only did you did life and birth life, you kept it alive. Like, the first birthday is such a big deal because there's such a high rate of mortality the first year.
Yes.
Generally, it's you. You're like, you kept that baby alive. So I feel like love the dads, love all the present dads. And every mom is not necessarily a great mom, but I do feel like it's a different level. The fact that she got to motherhood and all the moms that step in place for other kids, it's a different level of love.
Yeah.
And with that said, I've always celebrated. So my mom and I are very close. And in our house, I don't remember it being a big deal, but I remember the school making it a really big deal. So I knew to make it a big deal. And my grandmother did not have the benefit like you guys to really know my grandmother. She died on her birthday, which was 2 months before I turned 1. So I don't have any recollection of her. And so I remember my mother, it being kind of a somber day for her, and wanting to make it a fun and joyous day, and to let her know how much we appreciated her. She, of course, you never know all the sacrifices your parents make, but you really kind of get a sense of it as you become a parent of how difficult it is and how frustrating sometimes it is, and balancing work. And when I think of, she worked all day and she would come home and she would fix a home cooked meal. And now trying to do that as a parent, like, Lord God, I'm tired, I'm exhausted. And we would never stop. The requests never stopped. And you never heard her scream and yell to say, just please leave me alone. She didn't, I don't recall her doing the whole self-care. She didn't go out with her girlfriends. Like, she went out, it was to church, and she dragged me along. That was it. That was like every so often. That's what it was. You Sunday, Saturday, prayer meeting. It was, I didn't really see, like, I practiced trying to keep girlfriends in a girl circle, because I do think it's important, and probably more so because the only female in my house, and it was mostly girls in my family. I have sisters and one brother, but I don't remember seeing her do that. And so for me as an adult, it's so important to celebrate her and give her that space. And sometimes it was in the very first couple Mother's Days, it was like I ran around trying to make her feel so celebrated and my mother-in-law feel so celebrated. I was like, well, I'm a mom too, and I don't feel like I didn't. Like, what about me? Because I just fed everybody, and I'm running from Clinton, Maryland to Baltimore, Maryland, and it was like I wasn't looking forward to it. So I've kind of flipped the script and had everybody come to me so I can celebrate them. And just being able to celebrate my sisters, that was another thing I think that has been newest for us, because sometimes God bless the fathers, they don't always get the same understanding of celebrations the way we want to make it a big deal. So I had taken a page like you guys, and like, I want to make it a big deal, and I'm gonna make it a big deal for the women in my life, because sometimes the men, they kind of drop the ball a little bit, but it's okay. Everybody still got flowers, we still got presents, because we all want presents, and sometimes they don't know the right present to get. So we, as like my sisters, my mom, we all make sure that we do that and celebrate one another, which has been kind of a new thing, but definitely a happy thing. So we're able to really say, if nobody else told you this year, you are seen and you are loved and you are appreciated and you are an amazing mom. And I think we all need to hear that.
That's good. You are seen. I love that.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I had so many thoughts running around in my head because, well, Nelson didn't show me the questions till today, so because I didn't want to be thinking too much. But I can say that I think Nelson's been giving me gifts since he was in kindergarten. I still actually have the plant over there he gave me when he was in the kindergarten, right?
Wow.
I still got like the little cards, some misspellings, I still kept all those things because I remember when I was 19 and I was told I couldn't be a mom.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I turned, I guess I'm telling my age, but when I was like 32-ish and I found out I was pregnant, it was like I was excited, then I was scared, So, I mean, Nelson makes sure that, every Mother's Day is special because he always gives from the heart and always makes me feel like, I'm the best mom ever,
Aww.
which, yeah, we won't dispute that, right?
That's right.
But, and I like to celebrate, other moms, even women who want to have children and weren't able to have children. So sometimes I kind of, think about that as well, because I know how I felt at 19 when they told me that. I kind of felt like, my goodness, I would never get to be a mom. And God always has the last say because, the doctors don't know everything because here he is, So, I mean, it's just, just being a mom is just, I mean, you wear so many hats, you do so many things. And like you said, with the dads, it's dads are great. So I don't want nobody
saying they're great.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't want them little things coming up there with no trouble. But guys, you're great. And I don't know, I'm getting off topic a little bit. I love, if y'all ever watched the Hurt Twins where the single dad was raising the twin boys.
No.
Yeah, that's like awesome. So things like that, being able to see, like, guys are great. So, but today it's about us, what I mean? And celebrating the stuff that we do, So don't be offended, guys. It's about us and celebrating. And it's just wonderful to be a mom, the good and the bad, whatever comes with it. I love being his mom. I love it.
Yay.
Yeah.
Aww.
That's awesome. That's beautiful.
Yes, yes, and it's really amazing to hear you guys talk about your experiences and how beautiful they are in the midst of all of the obstacles that may come your way. One of the things that my mom and I talk about all the time is building a legacy. So from a mom's point of view, what does it look like in terms of building a legacy for your children? So what does it look like when you're leaving? What are you leaving for your kids in terms of, like I said, that legacy? What foundation do you think is important as a mom? In order for you all to build, on, so that your sons and daughters don't have to, struggle unnecessarily, or if they don't have to be subjected to some of the things that you may have been subjected to. Because I know that building a legacy for the next generation is important. And my mom always says that, I want you to do better than me.
Right.
I want you to be better than me.
Right.
You're the best part of me.
Yeah.
She always tells me
all the time.
So what does it look like for you guys?
Well, I'll jump in. Sherry, where you gonna go? Go ahead.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Look, ladies. Look, ladies.
I was going to say, I think the first thing that's so important in terms of foundation is a foundation of faith, because without that, there is really nothing else. Whatever they're going to, I can't think of every incident that will come their way. I can't think of everything that will happen to them in life. But if they have that trust and that foundation in the Lord, whatever happens, that is the best default. And it's always the best place to kind of go back to. But aside from that, being very intentional to kind of speak into their life and pour into them from a spiritual perspective. Obviously, financial freedom is the one thing that I think, especially as African Americans, we start to think of now, because that was definitely not something that was really afforded to us. And we really do have access to so much more than generations before all of us. So I'm trying to be intentional to teach them, financial literacy. Of course, for kids, they want, but really, what is the purpose of the dollar and how do you make it work for you? Which means for me, I have to also not only be an example, but learn a lot more and do a lot better. I don't want to provide them with a lifestyle that they're not prepared for. So yes, I would love for them to be able to graduate, and if they choose to go to college, to be debt free and to be able to invest in properties or whatever it is that they want to pursue. I would love to be able to allow them to pursue it without the concept or the fear of, I can't afford that dream, or I can't pursue that thing because of what I don't have. I even try to instill with them now, whatever it is that you want to do, there's no age limit on when you can start to do something. If you want to produce it. If you want it to manifest, tell us how we can support you, and let's do it. Let's look it up. No one says you can't have a business because you're 9. Have a business. What is it? What does it look like? How do we get it started? And they always kind of look at me and laugh, because I'm like, if you're serious, I'm serious. The one that I mentioned that wants to be a YouTuber, his dad and I have started to buy little things, and he's starting to kind of learn editing, but we were like, please stop talking about it. Like, let's do it. So we're kind of forcing him to get a sense that you keep asking for it and then you giggle. I want you to know that we take your dreams absolutely seriously, and let's see how we make this happen. So I think for me, and obviously, being a good person, I would love for them to know that I made a difference and I was a good person. And because of that, they would want to do that. I think it's so important to teach them to give back. I tell them all the time, like, you guys are blessed, and not blessed because they get things that they want, but you guys are blessed. You're healthy. You have a safe and secure home environment. You have a village of people that love and surround you in prayer. Like, you guys are significantly blessed. And because of that, I don't expect that when someone's being rude on the phone or when things happen, that you handle it the same way. You know better. And I expect that there is a different level of how you treat other people, because you've come from an environment and you've come from a place where you can afford, it's free. You can afford to be kind. You can afford to care for other people. And so for me, that's probably the other thing that's so important. Like, for the legacy that I leave, I want them to make sure that they always consider, reach back. You had a hand up, reach back and pull somebody else up.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. I'll go. Okay, I'll jump in. Just echoed everything pretty much that Sherry said. Without that faith foundation, you you have to know how to pray. You need to know that you can pray. You need to know that God is for you and not against you. You need to know these things because it won't feel like it all the time. It won't seem like it. Somebody else will tell you something different. So just like you said, I won't know every situation that'll arise, but I do know the source of peace that you need in your life to help you with any and everything. So first and foremost, that foundation of faith and that personal relationship that you have, not anything that I have, that your dad has, that, cousin Rissa and Kayla, Sherry, all of us have, as we're growing together and growing our families together. You can't look at, anything that we have, but just that foundation of faith. It's just it's so huge. It's so humongous because it helps with everything else. It just helps with everything else. The financial literacy piece, I can't wait. And to help her like with her credit score, to know Anthony's been grilling her like in the car. We're like, well, what is this and what is that? Like she has to really take some kind of test coming up soon. but it's serious. That financial literacy piece is so important.
Yeah.
And it's something that we didn't grow up doing when I was growing up, and many people can attest to that. But when you know better, you do better. That is true. It's a saying and a mantra or whatever, but it is true. You should try. And just instilling in them and teaching them the things that okay, that's not going to work because this is what happened to me. Or, maybe you should try something else. There's always a way to explain it where it's not, look at what I did. Because, our words as parents are like, yeah, sometimes. So, presenting matters in a way that would be digestible for them, and just teaching them to be absolutely great people, having that compassion and that heart for people. And I think at this time, because things have been so blatant and so lopsided, obscure, traumatizing, and all of those words that we can throw at it, the opportunities to show the opposite or teach the opposite have been there. They have been there, so teaching that other aspect of being an honest person, a person with integrity and responsibility. Anthony and I both have a military background, so we vibe off each other in the aspect of like being excellent and having integrity and all of those things that are not just military based. I'm not saying that, but those things help, having great discipline and putting things in place. And we're not perfect, but we're growing. And as we grow, we're trying to instill in hope in Anthony and Marquise. They aren't living at home right now, but we're still trying to be, the best and greatest examples that we can be. Because it's just like you were saying, Miss Lisa, it's so many things. It's so many people speaking into the atmosphere of your child. So giving them those firm foundations of how to be as a person, their faith and all of those things will help them along their way, because we're not going to be there 100% of the time.
Yeah. I'm teaching my daughter that I won't be there. I won't be here forever at an early age, because you just don't know, right? We have, not only do we have diseases, we have we're in a pandemic, life happens, natural causes and things like that. So the legacy that I am teaching her and that I want to leave with her is to be a doer. Now we have a female vice president. I want her to learn not to just talk about something and make it look good for status and clout and everything like that, but to actually make a difference. So when you get to heaven, God will say, well done. Right. And so I think that's important. We all have a foundation of faith. We all have a foundation of Christ. And that is the thing that has sustained me. So that is the thing that I am always going to teach her, because it is something that is going to sustain her in every single area of her life from now until God calls her home. And I want her to begin to be a doer, as Sherry mentioned, or whatever. She wants to be a YouTuber and all of these things or whatever. But I also want her to know that, because I am a darker colored Black woman, right? So there are some challenges that I went through within my own self, and she's fair skinned. So I want her to embrace the fact that she's an amazing, beautiful Black girl. You know, we had that conversation. Well, mommy, you're darker than me, and I'm, you know, I'm close to white, or, you know, I'm yellow, or, you know, I'm not pink. You know, we did that color thing. And just still letting her know that she is still a Black woman, and you should embrace the fact that you are a Black, beautiful girl, and not allow anybody to put their stipulations on what you should be and or not be, unless it's me, or what she can and cannot do. You know, I want her to break barriers. And so I come from an amazing lineage of women that are barrier breakers. They're game changers. They think outside of the box. They don't fit in. And so I want her to be comfortable with not fitting in, because the Bible says we have been called and set apart. And so for her to embrace the amazing person that she is, for her to continue to be a creative, for her to be an innovator. And so the legacy that I'm leaving with her is, you can do anything. You know, you can do anything, you can be anything, and you want God to be pleased with you. You know, understand that you're going to make mistakes along the way, but pick yourself up and dust yourself back off. So I'm building strength in her. I'm building tenacity in her. I'm also building self-love and self-care in her, because sometimes you need to take a seat. Sometimes you need to rest, you know. And I also, they watch us so much, and they watch how we handle things. You know, it could be stress, it could be celebrating something, it could be anything. And I mentioned the fact that we had to deal with her father really quickly. And I saw her, you know, literally going through an episode of dying. And she sucked up her tears. Like, she went, like, literally, and was like, who do I need to call? What do I need to do? She went into beast mode, and I embraced that. But after all of that, we got him settled and everything, to the hospital and everything. And I just saw her face, because she was trying to be strong for me. And I let her release. I said, you can release now. And when I say she just outpoured, because, you know, we forget that being Black women, they want us, we are told to be strong, right? We're told to be, you know, and it's not a bad thing, but this is the thing that we need to learn. It's not being strong and, you know, just going through things. It's being strong and understanding that, okay, you got a moment. You can take your moment. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't take away from your strength. You know, you can be strong in the Lord. You can be strong in your faith. You can be strong in happiness. You can be strong in joy. You know, it doesn't always have to be grief, but I'm teaching her to be an amazing warrior. In all facets of her life. Like, you can't get no better. It don't get no better for me than her, you know? And so I'm super proud of her. And so I'm just leading by example, because of the example that was taught to me, and whatever was wrong in my life, or whatever was taught to me wrong, I'm making sure I'm addressing it. Like, no, I wasn't taught right. So I'm going to make sure that I know that you have the correct information, you know, with boys and sexuality and, you know, finances, everything across the board. And we get that from the word of God in my house, for me in my house. That's how I'm talking and rolling. Okay.
Wow. Well, I guess the legacy for me would be, as far as faith goes, like, you know, each day Nelson and I lock hands. We make sure we do that before we go to sleep at night, and we pray. We've been doing that since he was a little boy. Kindergarten, you know, when he was able to talk. We've been doing that, and it doesn't matter how it came out. I just wanted him to be able to do it, because you know, I'm mommy, but I can't fix it, you know, everything. Because he used to say, well, mommy, you don't know that answer. You know, I don't know everything. I'm sorry, you know. So faith, I want that to be a legacy where he can stand on and build his foundation and have his family, and, you know, always have that. You know, I've always strived, you know, for him to get, you know, his education. That's always been important. I told him I didn't care what he did as long as it wasn't basket weaving. Now, we're going to have a problem if you do that. But, you know, he doesn't like to mention it, but he's working on his second degree. He doesn't say that a lot, but he is, and I'm proud of him. I want to leave that legacy, his education, as far as financial literacy. Like she said before, I remember when, he wanted to, purchase his car, and it was a thing, well, you got to teach him responsibility. And I told him, you save your money, whatever you save, I will match it, So because you can't give them everything. They have to earn something. So when he got his car, it was a thing, well, you got to pay for it. Because if I'm paying for it, I'm going to be driving it. So, I mean, instilling that in them as well. And just being able to enjoy life as well. Because my son is, he's a very, straight-laced guy. He's about getting it done. He's been getting up 5 o'clock in the morning since he could walk. Woo! And he still does it. He still does it. He still does it. He does his workout now. He reads his Bible. He gets his schoolwork done. When he was working, now, he's not working anymore, but he's, the balance. But I also wanted him to be able to connect with people and have friends and, just, be able to do what he wanted to do with his life. You want to write a book, you write a book. He had an opportunity, for Mr. Jefferson to be a part of your AGR family. My son is not, he's a thinker. He said, wait a minute, mommy, I got to think about it. I was like, boy, what you mean? Like, like, no, mommy, I got to think about it. I got a lot of stuff going on. But even him to have this platform to be able to make a difference, so, that too, because I've been a public servant for over 30 something years, and to see that he wants to give back and help people means that I've done, at least one thing right, that he wants to give them himself and be so transparent and tell his story just to be able to help people. So, I think I've instilled in him some good things, and I think that's part of the legacy that, that I'm passing on to him, that he can teach his family to pray, to work hard, go to school, take care of your responsibilities. Even when he was a little boy, teaching him responsibility as a young man, he started doing the laundry. How old were you, Nelson?
It was like 5.
Right. Your colors. Let's get that. Your colors. Let's get it done. You know what I mean? That's great. People talk about, I'm getting ready to call on you. I'm getting ready to call social services. You're abusing that boy. He needs to learn responsibility. So it was a thing of, just, those are the things that I tried to instill in him so he can pass it on to his family and, have some kind of foundation and lean on it. And I think, that's what's important, just being a parent, being a mother, just trying to give the best of yourself to your child so they can carry it on to the next generation. So I pray that, I can continue to do that for him.
He's a phenomenal man. He really is amazing.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yes, I appreciate all of you ladies. Now, one last question that I do have is what advice would you give to young women who may want children in the future? Like, for instance, a lot of like my peers in my peer group, a lot of us are waiting to have our families later on in our lives. A lot of us want to build our careers and focus on our independence first. And a lot of, like I said, a lot of ladies in my peer group, they all want to wait to have children and to build, families and everything. So what advice would you give to young women who may want to have children in the future, knowing that the world is going where it's going? What advice would you give to a young lady that may be watching, or a young lady that is just kind of is unfamiliar with this in terms of being a mom and what the journey's like?
I'll be quick. I have a very quick one. I think one of the first things that comes to mind is there's no perfect timing. So people think that there's a timeline of when you're going to be prepared for motherhood. The truth is, It's pretty much made up. None of us know what we're doing when the baby comes out. You can read all the books you want in the world. You can Google everything. You can YouTube it. And the first time that baby comes out, you have no idea. Every baby is different, and you have to treat that child individually. So there's no perfect time. The best you can do is pray and keep it moving, because we make it up. I tell my kids all the time, like, I'm just making this up and praying for the best, because we're all different. What works for one child doesn't work for another child. What works for my mother's parenting style for me won't work for what I do for my kids. The environment, the culture, everything is different. And so, take that and like release the pressure off of yourself of that, because doesn't matter how much money you have, none of that really matters. You're assuming, if you get to X amount of dollars and you're 35, like, oh, then I can have a kid. Or, just because you're young doesn't mean you're going to have a kid. There is no perfect situation. There's no perfect timing. If you want to have a child, consider it. I mean, be smart about it, but there's no such thing as perfection. So that should never be the thing you're looking for, because it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I echo that. What I was going to say was pray, girl, pray. I mean, pray about it, pray on it. And that's for anything that you want to do, or any goal that you have in your mind that you want to obtain. But having kids, wow, that's a big question. It's a great question, Nelson. But there is no perfect time. Just as Sherry said, that because as a woman, you change. Not only are there all of these things going on, but there are things that are changing within you as you mature, as you come into yourself, and everything is just evolving and changing. So, my advice would just be to pray, make sure that I don't know, because you can do all that you can do, and then it'll still not seem like enough. So just like Sherry said, take that big thing off of you, as far as, waiting for the right time. Of course, there is a more opportune time than others, depending on relationships and all of those things. But you guys are together, pray. And children are not going to change things. I would want that would be a bit of advice that I would have to say, is having a baby isn't going to change love. If love is not there, having a child is not going to bring love about. I think that's a big misconception and a huge myth, that things are going to change and things are going to get so much better, or what have you. It's really not. That's about it. That's about it. It's not going to change. Your love may change because you'll have this person right here, to love, and they're going to love you no matter what, but things emotionally will not, they'll still be the way that they are. So that's an unfortunate myth, and I think a lot of people fall kind of, and pray might not be the best word for that, but they fall into the guise of that, of the situation changing, or improving in some kind of way, and a innocent child is like caught in the middle of all of that. But that's all I have to say about that. Pray, girl, pray.
I piggyback off of everything that Kat and Sherry said. I will also say, make sure your picker is right, okay? Because the one thing you don't want to do is walk around here with a baby daddy. If you don't have to, that's the honest to God truth.
Make sure no picker.
My pastor preached a sermon I will never forget, and he said your picker may be off. That means the relationship. Make sure that you are in God love guided relationships. And granted, things happen. You fall into a relationship with someone, you may find out later that that's not the person that you should be forever with, and then you get a bundle of joy. Things happen, but I would say that me being a currently single, yes, your picker.
That's
currently being a single mom, because you don't want to just have a baby with anybody, because it's not easy. Contrary to what people may believe, it is not easy carrying for another person. Look at adults. We can't even get ourselves together. Okay. So you have to nurture, you have to feed, you have to do all of these things. And then also take into account, definitely pray. Also taking into account that everybody is not assigned to be a mother by giving birth. You know, that's why I said I celebrate the aunts, I celebrate the godmothers, I celebrate the sisters, I celebrate the whole woman village. If you're a good woman, now I understand that some people are not, but you know, for those that are desiring children or something like that, and you know, it's just not happening for you, you are not less than anything, because you cannot produce a child throughout your own body. There's so many different ways. There's so many different avenues. Children are an amazing part of life, you know. So you want to make, for me, my advice is to pray, of course, make sure that you're getting into a relationship with somebody that you think is going to hold you down. You know what I'm saying? And then also you have to make sure that love is within you. You have to start with yourself first. Like Kat said, it's not going to make him or, you know, love you anymore. It's not going to make you love yourself anymore. So all of those things have to start before you decide that you want to bring a child into this world, because it's really selfish for you to do that and not be equipped or want to be responsible to carry the load, because the cross is heavy. Okay. You know, listen, if you're looking about it, you're thinking about it, and you good, you know, I have somebody that you might want to watch, you know, she's about
just some experience.
Can I add one thing before we go?
Absolutely.
Because I think you mentioned something that's so important. I think it's also fair for women to not feel like their womanhood is attached to motherhood.
Right.
You can be a whole woman, and I know society sometimes makes you feel less than because you chose. It's not that you couldn't have one, you didn't want one. There's nothing wrong with you. People always ask, and I would ask the world, whoever's watching this, please stop asking women, when are you gonna have a kid, or if she gets married, when you gonna. They don't need that pressure. It's enough to be a woman. You do not have to have a kid as a trophy of your womanhood, and you don't have to give a justification if you're married for 15 years and never have a kid. Well, what's wrong with her? What's wrong with him? It drives me crazy that people think that it is their right to ask that question, and it does make women who have chosen a path that they want to be career women. They don't want kids. There's nothing wrong with them. Nothing traumatic happened. They've made a very great decision for what makes sense for their life, and they did take that stock, and they said, I don't want to be selfish and have a kid that I don't want because someone wanted me to, or my mother wants to be a grandma so bad and I don't want the kid. So that would be my ask. Your womanhood is so much bigger than motherhood. It's a great addition, but it's not what makes or defines womanhood.
Exactly.
I was going to say real quick, that they should be prepared themselves. Even if you have a mate, you have to be in a position to take care of the kid, even if you have a mate. That's the big, you know, that's my biggest takeaway, because anything could happen.
Right.
And it, you know, and again, having a child, if you don't want to have one, it's okay. You don't have to prove anything to anybody, and you shouldn't feel less than a woman just because you don't have a child. You're still a woman.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say about that.
There you go. Mom, drop the mic.
That's it. He's done. But I don't know which button to push.
Yes. Well, I appreciate. Yes, I do appreciate all of you ladies for taking time out of your schedules and your evenings to join us for this conversation. This was the very first post Mother's Day edition for the Beauty and Us Radio. So I want to thank you all again for hopping on to talk about your experiences and what it's like for you all. I wanted to give a few announcements before we close out. I wanted everybody to know that, you know, Friday on May 14th, it's my birthday. So I turned 22 on Friday. So, I will be celebrating my birthday this week on Friday. And I also want to let you all know that one of our fellow radio personalities, Miss Brianna Cabell, aka Miss Breezy, she is going to be starring in a play production for Color Girls this Saturday and Sunday. So this weekend, my mom and I have our tickets. We're going to go down there and we're going to support her.
See Miss Breezy.
Yes.
Miss Breezy like Sunday morning.
Yes. So we're going to be, So we're going to be, you know, watching the play, and I encourage you all to purchase your tickets to see the play. If you've watched the movie and if you've read the book, you will definitely enjoy this production. She's portraying, from my understanding, the Lady in Purple. So it would be a really great opportunity for you all to sit down, and just enjoy the production. And it's a great birthday present for me because, with all of the restrictions that are still in place because of the pandemic, it gives me an opportunity to, just go out and have some fun, especially during the end of the semester. Right. So again, I want to thank you ladies for tuning in. Next week, on May 18th, my plan is to have Mr. Mark Hunter and Mr. Don Brightman here with us to talk about what it's like to be a podcaster and what it's also like to be an author and motivational speaker. So both of them are going to be a part of my broadcast from 6 to 7. So make an appointment to meet me back here on Tuesday, May 18th, 2021. So my name is Nelson E. Brown, and I'm closing out. So I hope you all have enjoyed this broadcast.
It's been fun.
Yes.
Thanks for inviting me now.
Yes, and you guys have had the chance to meet my mom for the very first time. And she will be back.
Hopefully they don't shut down ATR because of me.
No, we don't shut it down for the picker.
You'll end up with your own show messing with us, okay?
It's been fun meeting you, ladies. It's been a lot of fun.
It's like a great job with such an amazing son, too. Kudos to you. Pat yourself on that. There you go.
Right.
Thank you, Nelson, for the opportunity to share.
Yes.
Welcome.
Okay.
You all are welcome.
All right. See
you guys next time.
Don't forget to wash your hands. Stay safe, people.
Yes.
All right.
Mom has spoken.
That's it. And I'm dropping the mic again.